Hello everyone. This video goes along with a lesson on the physical properties of matter. First, students are going to learn to identify physical properties. They'll also learn to use measuring tools to measure length, width, and after we're going to experiment with shape and size. And to do so, students are going to experiment with paper airplanes. They will create 3 differently sized airplanes, and then we'll fly them and we'll see which one travels farther. Okay. To make this more fun, students can assume the role of an aerodynamics engineer or aerospace engineer, and their first assignment will be to design an airplane that travels farther than any other. So now to begin this experiment, we will need a research question. This is our research question. Does a longer airplane fly farther than a wide one? Then we need to develop a hypothesis. So students will come up with an answer based on information they know or the information they think they know. I will ask them to tell me why they chose that question to get them to think. They will write their hypotheses in their science journal. Here's a list of the materials that we will need. And now we'll move on to the procedure. First we'll make the airplanes and then we'll fly the airplanes. Okay, so let's begin. Detailed instructions can be found under the PowerPoint and the lesson plan. So we'll start with 3 equally shaped and papers with equal weight. We'll start folding lengthwise. Then we'll make a triangle. This is where it starts to get a little tricky. I like to use my nail to hold it in place, and then once this edge meets the middle, we crease, and I do the same to the other side. And now we have sort of a pyramid shape. We fold it again so that all the folds are to the inside and turn it 90 degrees. Students can use the ruler to really crease it. Then we're going to measure 1.5 inches from the bottom. We can use either our ruler or our measuring tape. It's a good idea for students to mark the spot where they will be folding down to. Again, you can use your ruler to crease, and we'll do the same thing to the other side. One and a half, place my mark, and I fold. I can use the ruler to crease, and there we have it. We have our first plane. This is the next plane, we will need to make this paper shorter. So, it will be 8.5 by 8.5. So, we know that the width of this paper is 8.5. We know the length is 11. So, at the 8.5 mark, we will fold. Okay, and now we're going to work with this. So now first, we fold it again lengthwise. We're going to make the airplanes exactly the same. We crease, and then we make our triangle. Go into our pyramid shape. Crease. Sometimes you have to adjust your creases. There we go. Same thing on this side. And I like to use the ruler to really get a good crease. We fold it in half with all our folds inside. And again I'll crease. And we are going to make the wings the same way. We'll measure 1.5 up and mark. And then fold. And we'll do the same thing to the other side. Students should really like to do this because kids love making paper airplanes. And throughout the entire process, they're measuring tools, they're learning to mark the spot, which is important. And now, this is our short airplane. Okay, and that's ready to go. Looks pretty sharp. And on to our last airplane. Okay, so now we got rid of some length in this first airplane, and now we're going to get rid of some width. Okay, so we'll still be working with 11 inches in length, but this time we are going to work with 6 inches in width. So at the 6-inch mark, right here, we're going to create a fold. There's my fold. Okay, and now we're going to make our airplane from this shape. So first, go into our length fold. And we open it up and we create our triangle. They should already start to notice a significant difference in the shape of this airplane, whereas the other one, the triangle and because it was the same width, they couldn't tell. But with this one, it's already very those are probably good questions to ask, that as I'm folding this in the classroom, demonstrating to the students how to fold these airplanes, I could certainly ask, what do you notice? What do you see so far about the shape? How can you tell this is smaller? And hopefully we'll get those answers like smaller triangle. We can already see that this is going to be thinner, so, or longer, whatever the case is. And now onto the wings, and again. Now, something to point out with this, which will eventually be the longer airplane, is that from top to bottom, we have 3 inches, and we mark our wing fold at 1.5 inches from the base. So it's good to point out that this is the middle, so it is the exact same distance from the middle to the bottom and the middle to the top. So we're going to fold our ring right to the bottom. So there's no excess like we saw with this airplane, and even bigger with this one. So that's something that you may want to point out. We fold the other wing, and then we'll give it a good crease. And this is now our long airplane. And now that we have our planes ready, we can move on to testing. So to test our airplanes, we should really be doing it indoors so that wind is not a variable. And the gym is a good place so that students have plenty of room to do their trials, or if the teacher just plans ahead to make sure that the groups are divided in such in a way that they can do this project in the classroom. So I will mark the spot from where I am starting. Okay, so here I didn't actually have to put anything. I have a clear marking of where I will start, and then I will fly the planes and then measure the distance. Okay, so I will begin with the wide. Then I will move on to the short. And finally the long. And now I will get my measuring tape to measure the distance from the starting point to where they actually landed. Students will record their results in their science journal, and they will use a table just like this one. So I'm going to go ahead and measure and record my results. Okay, so here we see that our first airplane landed at 5 feet, 5 inches. So I will record that in my trial number 1 for the wide airplane. Okay, and our short airplane landed at 4 feet, 2.5 inches. So I'll record that under short, 4 feet, 2.5 inches. And our long airplane landed at 4 feet, 3 inches. So I will record that. So here are my results. The wide airplane traveled a distance of 4 feet 5 inches. The long airplane traveled a distance of 4 feet 3 inches, and the short airplane traveled a distance of 4 feet 2.5 inches. So now I will engage students in some questions that will help conclude the experiment demonstration in the classroom. So I will ask them what caused the airplane to fly. Um, we learned the new word motion, so I'm hoping that students will use that word in their response. I pushed it, I threw it. Um, what did you observe? And a sample answer is if the long airplane flies farther. This is just a sample that I prepared. In this case, um, the white airplane flew farther. So what would happen if I had used heavier paper for one of the airplanes? A sample response would be heavier paper won't fly as far. And the last question is, what if I keep testing? What do you predict for the next trial? I like to end with this one because it will really get students ready to think of their own hypotheses as they work through their own experiment. So finally, I do have a set of questions that will guide students through their conclusion, and students will use these questions to conclude their experiment, and they will include them in their science journal. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it's useful to you in the future. Thanks for watching.